Most High in Christ. Let's give it up for the Most High in Christ. We're at Isupk out of 1 West 125th Street out of Harlem, New York, under Commanding General Yohana. Of course, we teach Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans the truth according to the Bible, history, archaeology, and anything else you may need for your understanding. I am Priest and Officer Yahweh. I'll be running and teaching this class tonight. So if anyone has any questions or comments, feel free to put it in the chat. Let me know, and we'll get you the biblical truth of whatever it is you need to understand. So with that being said, you gotta excuse me because I'm eating grapes too. I'm trying to stick to a diet. I'm not doing a good job, but bear with me. So that being said, we're going to be in the book of Maccabees. We're still in the book of Maccabees, chapter 5. You understand? We went over the first 4 chapters already. So for context, you want to get any understanding, watch the classes that we've had the previous, I guess close to a month. Probably, I guess a month now. But yeah, we're in the book of Maccabees. And again, the reason why we're going into this history is because a lot of people don't understand what, for instance, when they see no Jew nor Greek, they don't understand why that's there. They just know it's there, and they think that Jew means all of Israel, which it doesn't. And Greek means everybody that's not of Israel, which it doesn't. That's not what it means. There's no context in the Bible that could prove that point. But when you read the book of Maccabees, it proves and shows you what no Jew nor Greek truly means. So that's why we're going over. So right now we're in the book of First Maccabees, chapter 5. I'll give everybody a second to get there. First Maccabees, chapter 5. It's in the Apocrypha. Yes, lucky. It's in the Apocrypha. If you got a KJV 1611, it's in that, or it's that little red book, whatever you need. Oh, Salakia, give me one more second. Hold on. I always forget this part. My fault, Facebook and YouTube. I got to go live on, I got to get my TikTok going. Give me a second. It won't take long at all. Give me 1 second. Let me see. That's not what I want. Yeah, that is what I want. All right. Yeah. So now we're about to kick it up, go live on TikTok. Give a second to get it going. Bear with me. I usually get TikTok going before I start class, but my fault. What can I say? I'll be better next time. Let's get a couple more. All right. Scoot that back. All right. And of course, if anyone has any questions or comments, again, feel free to put it in the chat. All right. So now, like I said, the book of First Maccabees, and we're reading chapter 5 to give us the context of what's going on in the New Testament. You got to understand what happened between the Old and the New Testament. If you don't understand that, then guess what? You'll never understand what Paul is talking about, what Peter is talking about. It will never make sense. And that's why you have religion today. It's the reason why it doesn't make sense. But we're going to make it make sense. So let's get into it. First Maccabees, chapter 5, verse 1. Now when the nations round about heard that the altar was built and the sanctuary renewed as before, it displeased them very much. Now, think about that. I love how it starts off. Think about that. The nations, meaning the other nations outside the children of Israel, they heard that the children of Israel, the Jews, they had built the altar in the sanctuary and they renewed it as before. And that displeased them very much. I mean, that pissed them off. Think about it. Why would that piss them off? If Christianity was supposed to be the way, why would that piss them off? Give me 1 second. 1 second, y'all. Hold on. I'll be right back, TikTok. Give me 1 second. Are we back in motion? We back in motion. My apologies. We back in motion. Let me get this straight. Yeah, my apologies. You understand that a part of being in the truth is every now and then, you know, man above you might tell you to do something. Well, you got to stop life and do it. That's a part of being in the truth. This is also how you know you're in the truth. You understand? So, ain't nothing to it. You just simply obey. And that's what it is. So now we back at it. So look at it. Let's read that again. Now, when the nations round about heard that the altar was built and the sanctuary renewed as before, it displeased them very much. If religion was the way, why would this displease them very much? Think about it. It displeased them very much. Now, you want to get context on why it displeased them very much? Well, you actually have to go back in the Apocrypha because a heathen actually broke this down to why this displeased heathens very much. So now we're about to go back in the Apocrypha, the book of Judith, and then we're going to break this down. Why did it said, when the nations heard that the altar was built and the sanctuary renewed as before, it displeased them very much. So now we're about to get the context of why did this piss off the nations. Let me see. So we're going to the book of Judith. Book of Judith. All right. We want to go to chapter, what is it? 5. The book of Judith, chapter 5, verse 3. This is in the Apocrypha also. This is why you need your Apocrypha. Because this is going to clarify a lot of things. This is going to clarify a lot of things. This is going to clarify why they went so hard about changing our culture. This is going to clarify why they went so hard about taking our language. You understand? Changing our God, giving us their religion, making us break Sabbaths, making us eat pork. This is going to clarify a lot of things, what we're about to read. So if you're following along, pay attention because we're about to get into some history that's going to almost illuminate the purpose of the New Testament. So the book of Judith, chapter 5, we're going to start at verse 3. Yeah. Judah chapter 5, verse 3. Look at this. Well, I'm going to start at verse 2. Wherewith he was very angry and called all the princes of Moab and the captains of Ammon and all the governors of the seacoast. And he said unto them, Tell me now, ye sons of Canaan, who this people is that dwelleth in the hill country, and what are the cities that they inhabit, and what is the multitude of their army, and wherein is their power and strength, and what king is set over them, or captain of their army. So now we're getting into good Lord, I always struggle with his name. Holofernes. He's the captain of the army at this time, and he has all the heathens in his army. So now he gets to the children of Israel, and he sees them, and they're far off, and now he's asking all the company of his army, who are these people? You understand, that dwell in the hill country. What's their strength? Who's their king? What's their power? Essentially, how can we go conquer them? This heathen wants to know, how can he conquer our ancestors? Now watch what happens. Oh, this is about to get good. My father told you I was eating apples. Grapes. Work with me. So, verse 4. And why have they determined not to come and meet me more than all the inhabitants of the west? Meaning, the Israelites didn't care about you conquering all the other countries, all the other nations round about. He didn't care. We didn't care that Holofernes did that, because we understood we served the one true power. So it didn't matter if you conquered all those nations. As long as we're good with our God, we didn't care what you were doing. Watch this. Verse 5. Then Achior, the captain of all the sons of Ammon. So just for context, Achior is the captain of all the sons of Ammon. Today, those will be your so-called Japanese people. Your so-called Japanese people. So essentially, a Japanese man stood up, and this is what happened. Then said Achior, the captain of all the sons of Ammon, let my Lord now hear a word from the mouth of thy servant, and I will declare unto thee the truth concerning this people, which dwelleth near thee, and inhabiteth the hill countries, and there shall no lie come out of the mouth of thy servant. So now he's telling Holofernes, listen, just if you let me speak for a second, I'll give you the whole rundown on these people. And I'll give you the rundown, and there will be no lie that comes out of my mouth, because I'm your servant. Whatever you need, I'm here to do. You understand? You done conquered my people. So, hey, you want to know about them? I know about them. Let me, if I can have a moment, sir, I'll tell you. Now listen to what he says. Verse 6. This people are descendant of the Chaldeans. The Chaldeans is essentially who Abraham came from. So remember, Abraham came from the Chaldeans. And the glorious thing about this is Abraham had many sons, but this is about to get, let's just keep reading. This people are descendant of the Chaldeans, and they sojourned heretofore in Mesopotamia, because they would not follow the gods of their fathers, which were in the land of Chaldea. So who did that? That was Abraham. Abraham broke off from his family, and he traveled. He just knew there was a power telling him, get away from these people. Do not serve their gods. And Abraham broke off from them, and he traveled to Mesopotamia. That's who this is talking about. Abraham, so-called father Abraham, right? Let's keep reading. For they left the verse 8. For they left the way of their ancestors and worshiped the God of heaven, the God whom they knew. So they cast them out from the face of their gods, and they fled into Mesopotamia, sojourned there many days. That was Abraham, his servants, and everything that came with Abraham, his wife, and all that, children. So this is talking about Abraham. He's giving you the breakdown all the way from Abraham up until this point. Watch what he says. Verse 9. Then their God commanded them to depart from the place where they sojourned, and to go into the land of Canaan, where they dwelt. and were increased with gold and silver, and with very much cattle. So this is when Abraham became big. The family was prospering, rich in gold and silver and cattle. You understand? Had everything. So now Akayar, I always struggle with that name. The Japanese man, or the Ammonite, he's breaking it down and letting you know. So he left his people, he left his homeland, went to Mesopotamia, became a rich people, dwelt there for many days, grew in rich in gold and silver and everything else. Right now, look, let's keep reading. Verse 10. But when a famine covered all the land of Canaan, they went down into Egypt and sojourned there, while they were nourished and became there a great multitude, so that one could not number their nation. So now this is going into the part of the story where what? When Jacob, you understand, Jacob, he was the forefather, or the head of our people, the head of our nation. That's when he done had the 12 tribes. We got them as the sons, and now remember, it was a famine in the land. You understand? We had dealt in the land of Canaan all the way from Abraham up until Jacob in the 12 sons. But then there was a famine in the land. So then what? We had to go to Egypt. You understand? So that's where we at now. Again, he's giving the whole breakdown of our people. So now, verse 11. Therefore, the king of Egypt rose up against them and dealt subtly with them, and brought them low with laboring and brick, and made them slaves. So now this is when we're in the land of Egypt, you understand, and we become slaves to the Egyptians. So now he's going into how we became slaves to the Egyptians. Let's keep reading. Then they cried unto their God, and he smote all the land of Egypt with incurable plagues. So the Egyptians cast them out of their sight. Now it goes into what? When we were in Egypt, we were slaves in Egypt, but we cried unto our God, you understand, essentially through Moses. And then when we did that, the Lord had mercy on us by doing what? Bringing incurable plagues to Egypt. You know why that part's heavy? Because we have to get back in that same spirit here in America. You want that same God to have mercy on you, then you need to cry out to that same God in the same spirit as your ancestors did. We need to be crying out to that same God in the same spirit that our ancestors did. So you want to understand why our captivity is prolonged and this, that, and the third, is because you crying out to that God in the name of Christianity. Well, that ain't the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You understand? That God ain't never claimed Christianity, nor has he any of his true followers ever claimed Christianity. You understand? You want to know why the Lord is not having mercy on you? Because we're not being obedient to the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. See, when you cry out, the first thing you're crying out is, Father, I messed up. I screwed up. I've been up here following America, being a Christian, being a blackity black, being a Republican, being a politician, being everything but what you called me to be. Father, forgive me. I will not make those mistakes again. You understand? That's what they're crying out. And that's what we have to cry out if we want the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob to have mercy on us. If not, then hey, enjoy America, because it'll be here as long as we keep messing up. Just like Egypt was for our ancestors. Let's keep reading. So, verse 13. And God dried the Red Sea before them, right? So once all the plagues hit Egypt, you understand, the Lord dried the Red Sea before our ancestors. And there's actually proof of this Red Sea because they actually found chariots chariot wheels of the Egyptians that dated back to the time of the Egyptian captivity, what they would say the Egyptian rulership or whatever we call the Egyptian captivity. So this is actually something that's been proven. They actually have this proof. All right. Verse 13, and God dried the Red Sea before them. 14, and brought them to Mount Sinai in Cade's barn and cast forth all that dwelt in the wilderness. So now the Lord done brought us in the wilderness, but he cast forth all that dwelt in the wilderness. Why? Because everybody was unalived or did not make it to the Holy Land outside of who? Not Jacob, but good Lord, the name. You know what? Let me go get him. Y'all gotta excuse me. Let me go get it. But it was only two brothers that made it out the Holy Land. Joshua was one, son of Nun, right? Joshua, and what is the other brother's name? No, Aaron did not make it out the Holy Land. But Joshua and Lord, the other brother was a Judite. Hold on. Just go back to these scriptures. These scriptures will tell me everything I need to know. Who came out of there with Joshua? Moses. I don't know why is it Caleb? Was it Caleb? This irks me that this name is forsaking me. Right, Caleb. All right, Most High in Christ. Caleb and Joshua. So when it says, so let's go back to it to get the context. That's my fault, y'all. So when it says, and brought them to Mount Sinai and cast forth all that dwelt in the wilderness, the Lord, you understand, cast forth all our ancestors outside of who? Caleb and Joshua. Those are the only two people that made it to the promised land. So 15. So they dwelt in the land. Now remember, this is coming from a heathen. A heathen is giving his history on us. And this should tell us something, that the heathens know who we are. The heathens understand who we are. It's about to come to fruition right real quick. Excuse me. 15. So they dwelt in the land of the Amorites, and they destroyed by their strength all them of Esbon. And passing over Jordan, they possessed all the hill country. So this is when we went back in and destroyed, I think, who was it? The Girgashites, Jebusites, Ammonites, all Amorites, and all those heathen nations, you understand, which would be considered African today. All those heathen nations we destroyed to get back into our Holy Land from the wilderness, right? 16, and they cast forth before them the Canaanite, the Perizzite, the Jebusite, the Shechemite, and all the Girgashites, and they dwelt in the country many days, which is what I just broke down, right? And whilst they sinned, listen to this part, verse 17, and whilst they sinned not before their God, they prospered. While they sinned not before their God, they prospered, because the God that hateth iniquity was with them. See, that's what they understand. When we are in righteousness, the nations have no power over us. When we come back to the law, statutes, and commandments, the nations have no power over us. This is the reason why Christ is so powerful, because what did he do? He came to bring us to the perfection of the law, to show us how to live perfect according to the law. Why? To give us our power back. That's the glory of living according to the law. You understand? Let's keep reading. It gets better. So, and while they sinned not before their God, they prospered, because the God that hateth iniquity was with them. Verse 18, listen to this. But when they departed from the way which he appointed them, what was the way the Lord appointed us? To obey the law, statutes, and commandments. Matter of fact, just in case you don't believe me, I'll help us out. Let's get it out the Bible. What do I want? Psalms, that's right. Proverbs. Let me see if I can get it real quick. I gotta do it like this. Watch this. Oh no, that's dope. You said the Lord always came through for us. Guess what? I'm gonna show us something else in Judges. But hold on 1 second. I just want to get this real quick. Just in case we don't understand. Look, watch this. This is right. This has been in the Bible the whole time. They don't break this down in church. Watch this. Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 13. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Listen to this. What's the conclusion of the whole matter? Meaning, what's the whole point of this life we're living? Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. You worried about your duty and purpose. It's to obey the Most High God. See, you'll say, so what? Am I just supposed to sit around here and obey him? And then what do I get out of it? What you get out of it is, for one, you're in God's favor, which is more than enough. But two, that's when the world sees you as the greatest entity walking this earth, and nobody can deny it. See, they already see you as the greatest athletes, singers, looking, dancers, whatever. But then when you come into the wisdom and knowledge of God on top of all that, who can deny who you are but the children of God? No one can deny it at that point. You look better, you smell better, you dance better, you're better athlete, you make better sense. You just, everything about you is better. And then you have the wisdom of God on top of it. Who can deny these people? That's why it's the whole duty of man to obey him. This is also why the law says this. Watch this. Deuteronomy 4 and 6. Keep therefore and do them. Do what? The law, statutes, and commandments. Yeah, cook better too. You ain't live a lot about that. For this is your wisdom. And guess what? You can learn how to fry chicken in the laws of God. You can learn how to fry meat in the laws of God. Come on now. Come on now. I mean, this is how deep the laws is. It'll show you how to hook that thing up. The Lord said, in all thy offerings, put salt. You understand? Meaning you're going to flavor and season all your offerings. Don't bring that bland stuff up to him. But anyway, Deuteronomy 4 and 6. Keep therefore and do them. What? The law, statutes, and commandments. For this is your wisdom and your understanding, listen to this, in the sight of the nations. See, when Achior, the Ammonite, was given this breakdown, he understood that our wisdom was these law, statutes, commandments, meaning we had knowledge of how to defeat them, we had knowledge of how to overcome them, and we had faith in our God that it would happen. But when we go away from these law, statutes, commandments, we no longer have that wisdom because we're living according to what we want. We no longer have that faith because we know we're not doing what our God told us. And that's why they can come and conquer us the way they did and the way they've done today. And the other nations knew this. You understand? Let's get back to it. So, Lockie, watch this. So, verse 18. So we're back in 1 Maccabees 5 and 18. But when they departed from the way which he appointed them, they were destroyed in many battles very sore, and were led captives into a land that was not theirs. See? You want to know why you're in a land that's not yours? And just in case, because some people say, well, we was already here. I don't knock that. But this is the problem. You'll know when a land is yours if the government looks like you. The military is by you and for you. The monetary system is by you and for you. You understand? The powers that be of that country is by you and for you. See? When it's not by you and for you, that's how you know you're not in your country. That's how you know you're still captive somewhere. So I said, pure BS, just be African, bro. Why would I do that? Why would I be African? Like, Africans have always been a thorn in our side. They were the first thorn in our side. Why would I want to go be them? That makes no sense. It's actually stupid. That's why I never understood why so many of our people, they become blackity black, and the first thing they want to do is go run to Africa. Truth be told, Africans enslaved us a lot earlier than white people. They enslaved us a lot earlier than white people. Not only that, Africans were the ones that actually sold us to the white people. White people didn't come in there and get us. They had people that was already in there come get us. That was the Africans. So no, I wouldn't want to be African no more than I want to be a white man. I want to be who God called me to be. That's the children of God. That's the Israelite. It's the only thing I'll be, none more, none less. Back to the scriptures at hand. So it says, but when they departed from the way which he appointed them, they were destroyed in many battles very sore, and were led captives in the lands that was not theirs, hence, i.e., America. In the temple of their God, listen to this, in the temple of their God was cast to the ground, and their cities were taken by the enemies. So remember, we read, because I want to bring you back to something, because this is why we went here in the first place, right? So like, this is why we went here in the first place. First Maccabees chapter 5, verse 1 said, now when the nations round about heard that the altar was built and the sanctuary renewed as before, it displeased them very much. Why did they care about our sanctuary being built back up? Because it represented us getting back in obedience with the Most High God. They knew the only reason we're building that back up is to obey and to get in line and to get in order with our God. So when they heard that, they understood and remember what good Lord, whatever the Ammonite's name is, the Japanese man, they remembered what he said. When they're not obeying their God, oh, you can destroy them. They were destroyed with many battles and very sore and in war and everything. When they're obeying their God, the true God is their power. And they understood the true power is coming back to them now. Let's keep reading. So it said, and the temple of their God was cast to the ground, and their cities were taken by the enemies. But now, verse 19, but now are they returned to their God and are come up from the places where they were scattered. See? And have possessed Jerusalem where their sanctuary is, and are seated in the hill country, for it was desolate. So this is the context, meaning this is the purpose of it all. Matter of fact, this is what the kingdom of God is going to be. This is what Christ is coming to do, to gather us back, to put us in our homeland. And the nations are going to understand, yeah, it's over. The gig is up. We no longer have the power anymore. When this happens, it says, but now are they returned to their God. That's possessive. That's T-H-E-I-R. That's possessive. Christianity not going to let you have a possessive God. You understand? Christianity going to make you share your God. And then sharing your God means you have no God. You have no God. Because it's your God. Thus saith your God. Like, this ain't me. I'm just the messenger. But it's our God. Therefore, we don't have the power to give him to anybody else outside of who he says. You understand? So he says, but now are they returned to their God and are come up from the places where they were scattered. Those places today would be America, right? And have possessed Jerusalem where their sanctuary is, and are seated in all the hill country, for it was desolate. 20. Now therefore, my Lord and Governor, listen to this. This is what you need right here. This is the whole reason why I brought us here. Verse 20 right here. So remember, this is a Kaiar, the Ammonite, the Japanese man, saying this to the ruler, Holofernes. You understand? That already conquered him and his people. Verse 20. Now therefore, my Lord and Governor, that's who he's talking to, right? If there be any error against this people, and they sin against their God, let us consider that this shall be their ruin, and let us go up, and we shall overcome them. Do you understand? The other nations know. How do you keep the children of Israel in captivity? Keep them in sin. Keep them being Christians. Keep them happy serving Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas. Take their mind off ever coming back to their God, because they have their religion of America. They have their politics. They have their holidays. You understand? This is why 2 Thessalonians says this. Look at this. Let's go to 2 Thessalonians real quick. We'll come right back. This is so heavy. Good Lord. This is why 2 Thessalonians, chapter 2, we're going to start at verse 7. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 7. Watch this. This is in the New Testament. For the mystery of iniquity doth already work. Let me read that again. I don't think y'all understood that. And that's okay, because I didn't get it the first time either. The mystery of iniquity doth already work. What does that mean? Oh, you think you're doing good. You don't even understand. There's a mystery to the iniquity you're doing. You didn't realize when you went to church to get right with God, you were just going into more iniquity. You thought you were leaving the streets, leaving the club, leaving drugs, leaving whatever, going to the church to get right with God. That's the mystery of iniquity. You understand? Because most people think, well, if I want to get right with God, what I'm going to do? I'm going to go to the church, right? I'm going to go to the church. Listen to this. For the mystery of iniquity doth already work. That's why it's so heavy, especially here in America. Christianity, all the denominations, all the religions, because you got to say, well, we to the point now where a lot of our people say, well, I think there's a truth in all the religions. That's the mystery of iniquity, because you can't find the truth in no religion. You understand? Listen to this. Only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way. Meaning, if you let Christianity, if you let politicians, if you let religion in any way, shape, or form have its way in your life, it'll have its way, and it's going to take you to your ruin. I.e., let's make this practical. In Christianity, in most of Christianity, it's okay to eat pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster. Okay. Well, you're going to eat that thing, and guess what? You're going to die of that thing. And you were in sin the whole time. You were in sin the whole time. You understand? In religion, guess what? It's okay to be a politician. Well, guess what? When you're in politics, you're working for the betterment of America. But the Bible that you say you live by is prophesying the destruction of America. So now the question is, whose side are you on? You're either on God's side or his enemy's side. You are in iniquity the whole time. That's the mystery of iniquity. We don't even realize it, and that's the iniquity that we're in. Robert Tucker. Hey, Rob, what's going on, Robert? God bless everyone. Believe in Christ Jesus to receive eternal life right now. Robert, you got a problem. Did Jesus Christ call everyone? Got a problem. Oh, that's a heavy one. While Robert answers this question, did Jesus Christ call everyone? Brother said, committing adultery in religion, in all these churches. And guess what? That's, Robert is tripping. But that's all we do. How do we know? The mystery of iniquity, right? Because you're like, well, yeah, it happens, but nobody willingly does it. I'm telling you, most of the church does it, and they don't even know it. Because a couple will come into the church married, whatever happens, they'll split up. Then that man will literally split up just to go get another wife. And in the church, that's okay. Well, guess what? That's adultery. You literally just disobeyed what Christ said. You literally put down one wife to go get another. That's literally what just happened. Now you're gonna put that woman you put down, you're gonna put her in adultery because you think she gonna sit around and just produce cobwebs. She gonna find somebody else to get that job done. And now she's in adultery. So now she's in adultery. You're in adultery for putting her in that position. And guess what? That literally happens in the church every day, every week, every year. Literally, the mystery of iniquity. When in reality, he should have never left his wife. And if he really wanted that other woman, he should have vet her and then made her his wife also. But the Christian church ain't going to tell you that. It would never tell you God ordained polygyny just as much as he ordained monogamy. It would never tell you that. They're going to make you think it's okay to commit adultery before they tell you polygyny is okay. That's the mystery of iniquity. Let's keep going. Yeah, Robert ain't had no answer, y'all. Robert has left the chat, which is what I figured. The wicked flee when no man pursueth. Y'all know how that go. Back to these scriptures. So, verse 7, 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 7. For the mystery of iniquity does already work. Only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way. Verse 8. And then shall that wicked be revealed. You understand? At the end, that wicked is going to be revealed. And there's a reason why I'm going so much on Christianity. You follow me here. Because there's a lot of iniquities that, whatever. Like I said, politics can be it. The Muslim faith can be it. All of it. So it says, and then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. Verse 9, even him whose coming is after the working of Satan with all power and signs and lying wonders. See? Meaning, whether you realize it or not, the work you're doing is of Satan. Satan has you in that Christian church. Satan has you divorcing your wife to go get another woman. You understand? Satan's doing this. Brother said he got a question. What's your question on TikTok? Go ahead, post your question. Verse 10, listen to this. And with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish. I'm going to read that again. And with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish. What is deceivableness of unrighteousness? Can anybody break that part down? With all deceivableness of unrighteousness. I'll eat a grape to it. Hey, Shalom. Oh, is that a sister? Hey, Shalom, sister. Salakia. Read it again. And with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish. That deceivableness of unrighteousness is literally what we just got done talking about. You understand? You don't even realize you're living the unrighteous life. This is what it's going into. This is why because Christianity is the practical way to paint this picture for today's time. You understand? You don't even realize going into that Christian church is literally the deceivableness of unrighteousness. Because you went into that Christian church trying to find righteousness. Instead, you found the deceivableness of unrighteousness. You understand? In them that perish. Listen to this. Because they receive not the love of the truth. See, the love of the truth meaning, that's what we got here in Isupk, man. How do I know? Because nobody outside of this, for the most part, likes what we do or what we speak on. You said, hold on, let me see. How do we know Edomites? Was that a question? How do we know Edomites are Europeans when Europeans are from Japheth and Javan? Okay, so real quick, just to give you a quick answer on that, Ira. Matter of fact, the Apocrypha, the Apocrypha. This is why they took the Apocrypha out. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna go ahead and get it to you real quick. This is the quickest way I can help you understand that, because I agree that the original European is Japheth. I agree with that, Ira. But watch this. Watch this. First Maccabees. This is why you got to watch this series, because it breaks down all this history that I'm teaching. I've been teaching a book of Maccabees for the past about a little over a month now. Now watch this. First Maccabees 1:1. We're about to answer. How do we know that Edomites are Europeans when the Europeans are from Japheth, which is true. The original European is from Japheth. But now we got to read this and understand something. Watch this. First Maccabees 1:1. And it happened after that, Alexander, son of Philip, the Macedonian. So now we're talking about Alexander the Greek or Alexander the so-called Great. That's who that's going into, right? Listen to this. After that, Alexander, son of Philip the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Chittim and had smitten Darius, king of the Persian Medes, that he reigned in his stead. Listen to this. The first over Greece. Listen to this. It made many wars and won many strongholds and slew the kings of the earth. So now the question is, Ira, Alexander the Greek, we'll say, is between 300 and 330 BC. That's history. We know that. That's a fact. But how is he the first to reign over Greece? Meaning, who did he destroy or win the war against to become the first ruler over Greece, Ira? And not only that, we can actually trace Alexander the Greek back to Esau biblically. We can trace his lineage through the Bible back to Esau. So we can trace Alexander back to Esau, but he was also the first ruler over Greece. But he came around in 300 to 330 BC. So we know there was people there before him. Who do you think he conquered, Ira? I'll eat a grape to that. We'll see if anybody has an answer. Alexander the Greek, a known white boy, history proves it, came to Greece, conquered Greece, all the nations about, and they say he was the first ruler of Greece. But we know there was people there before 300 to 330 BC. So now the question is, who do you think that he conquered? And who do you think he overthrew? That's your answer. That's your answer, Ira. That's how we understand the Edomites to be European, because we know Alexander was a European. Alexander biblically can be traced back to the lineage, the actual bloodline lineage of Esau. So that's how we know. And that's very true. Edom steals everybody's identity. That's what they do. You understand? Edom will tell you, I'm African. I'm a South African. And they'll tell you that with a straight face. Edom will tell you, I'm a red-blooded, proud American. And we know those people here before Edom. We know the history of this. There was people here before Edom. So that's just what Edom does. You understand? Lord, allow that helped you out. So back to the lesson at hand. 2 Thessalonians, right? 2 Thessalonians, verse 10. And with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they receive not the love of the truth, that they might be saved. You got to understand this truth is more valuable than your own life. Because this truth is what's going to bring us back to the Most High God. And this truth is what's going to have us living according to what the Most High God wants. And not only that, more importantly, this truth is what's going to have these other nations afraid of us. You understand? So the truth is what we got to come back to. This is why we teach the truth daily and weekly in our Isupk, because it's the only hope we have. Achior, the Ammonite, he understood that. He understood if they living according to the law, statutes, and commandments, they living in the truth. Ain't nothing we can do with them. So let's get back to that. Matter of fact, let me read a little bit more. Verse 11. And for this cause, God, listen to this, because we love not the truth, right? And we were and with all deceitfulness and unrighteousness, that's what we perished in. Listen to this. And for this cause, God shall send them strong delusion, right? Strong delusion, so like it, that they should believe a lie. You know what that strong delusion is? You go into that Christian church every Sunday. That strong delusion is you believe in John 3:16 means God loves everybody. That's the strong delusion. That is the strong delusion. You know what's crazy? You know why the truth cannot be the strong delusion, meaning what we teach in Isupk cannot be the strong delusion. You know why? Because nobody listens to it. It's not that strong. It's obviously not the strong delusion. A strong delusion is going to have the majority of our people following it. It's a strong delusion. And it's a lie. And that's what the Christian faith is. It's the strong delusion that's a lie. You understand? And it's the one that is deceiving us in every which way, shape, or form. So it says, and for this cause, God shall send them strong delusion that they should believe a lie. Verse 12, that they all might be damned who believe not the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness. Remember, the deceivableness of unrighteousness. You had pleasure in going to that Christian church instead of loving your people. You wanted to love, every nation. You understand? But God says you need to love your nation. You need to love your people. You got to come back to your God. You got to come back to your laws, your culture, statutes, and commandments. That's what we have to do. And again, we know that's not the strong delusion. Why? Because most of our people don't do it. There's nothing strong about a delusion that most people don't adhere to anyway. We start talking about law, statutes, and commandments, they say that's done away with. That's done away with. And you know who told them? The Christian church. The Christian church told our people the law, statutes, commandments were done away with. You understand? Because that's the real strong delusion. That's the strong delusion that we have to overcome. So this is why we have classes like this, and we'll continue to teach our people. Most High in Christ. So moving on, back to the book of Judas, chapter 5. Let's finish this out. So it says, verse 20. Now therefore, my Lord and Governor, if there be any error against this people, and they sin against their God, let us consider that this shall be their ruin, and let us go up, and we shall overcome them. So he already understood. If we disobey the Most High, guess what? He understood, even as a heathen, that's when we can overcome these people. That's when we can get them obeying us. That's when we can get them enslaved to us. Look at what else he says. Verse 21. But if there be no iniquity in their nation. Man, this heathen, boy. You know why that's so powerful? Because everybody want to be an individual like and say, well, I'm going to make sure I don't sin. And that's cool. But Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, all them brothers didn't sin either. And we still went into captivity. You know why? Because there has to be no sin in our nation. Our nation. Not just you. You got to love your people in order to overcome this demon, man. It can't, you got to get you right. But in getting you right, your very next fight should be getting your people right. You can start within the city gates of wherever you at. It's a nation thing. This is a nation building. This just ain't about myself. I can't serve myself. We are a nation. Blacks, Hispanics, we are a nation. We got to come back to God. All right, then came back. We still in captivity. All right, then came back. Y'all still about to go serve Christmas. You know why? Because we are a nation. And it takes all of us to obey our God. It takes all of us to get in line. You understand? It's a must. And even the heathen realize this. See, it's cool, even if we can get most of them listening and obeying, that's cool. Yeah, yeah. But if we see that there's a sect that just want to do their own thing, oh, we can get in there and destroy all of them. This is why you got to love your brother in this truth. This is why you got to love your sister in this truth. This is why what Christ said, there's no greater love than a brother put down his life for his friend. You understand? No great. What did he say? All the laws hang on this. Fear God and love your neighbor as yourself. Why? Because you don't want to be in captivity. Well, you shouldn't want your neighbor in captivity. Therefore, I'm going to obey. Therefore, I'm going to help my neighbor obey. Because I understand that's what's best for us. And even the heathen realize this. But if there be no iniquity in their nation, let my Lord now pass by, lest their Lord defend them and their God before them, and we become a reproach before all the world. See, Agar, he understood that thing. He understood. If they're in alliance and they're in obedience with the Most High God, it ain't nothing we can do. You ain't got enough artillery. You ain't got enough men. You ain't got enough laws. You ain't got enough power. You ain't got enough lies to defeat these people. There's nothing you're going to be able to do. We will become a reproach to the whole world because we're coming up against God and his children. And that's what you got to realize. That's the power in you, black man, black woman, Hispanic man, Hispanic woman. You are the child of God. Literally, all these religions, all this politics, all these lies and conspiracies and all that, that's because of you. It's to keep you docile. It's to make sure that you will never come back to being who you called to be. You will never get in line with your nation. This is why we go so hard in Isupk. Because we're not just an organization, we're nation building. This is why we have rank and structure in here. You understand? This is why we have councils in here. This is why we have men above us that we listen to, men below us that we lead. This is nation building, man. It takes a nation. It takes the nation to get us up out this captivity. My obedience is good, but what does it mean if my brother don't want to follow? What does it mean if my sister don't want to follow? We still going to be here in this captivity. You're damn right. It's about order. Let all things be done decent and in order. And that's in our nation, that's how we operate. All things are done decent and in order. That's why I started off. I had to postpone the class because I got an order. I got an order to postpone a class and get something right. And guess what? I postponed class. Hey, Salakia, y'all give me a second. And I got that thing right because a man above me told me to do it. I take pride in building our nation, man. I take pride in loving our people, man. I get that order right, not just for me, myself, or the man above me, but for my people that want to actually build this nation. They need to see that obedience is the way to building this nation. I don't obey just for me. I don't obey just for the men above me. I obey for my people to have hope. They understand that obedience is what's going to conquer the demons that devour us every day in this country called America, man. Every day. We got to come back to the Lord in obedience, man. We can't do it according to what we feel and what we think. We got to do it according to what the Lord wants, man. You understand? Yeah, I'm right. All right. So we wrote that down. Let's go back. Now we're going back to First Maccabees. First Maccabees. Most High Christ. Shalom, sis. First Maccabees. Where we at? First Maccabees 5 and 1. Because that's what brought us there. Now, when the nations round about heard that the altar was built and the sanctuary renewed as before, it displeased them very much. Why did it displease them? Because they understood they're just like Achior, the Ammonite. They understood, oh, they're getting back right with their God. We can't defeat them anymore. They have their power again. They're a nation again. What can we do? We can't do nothing. That's why we got to come do that again today, right now. Nation building, not individual building, nation building. Nation means all of us. Even the ones of us we don't like, come on, bring your butt on. Let's go. Come on, we're going to get this right. We'll hold council every week if we got to, but it's better than staying in this captivity. Verse 2, wherefore they thought to destroy the generation of Jacob that was among them. That's a glorious thing too, man. It said, wherefore they thought to destroy the generation of Jacob that was among them. Do you understand? That's just telling you that's who we're always labeled as. We're always labeled as the children of Israel. We're always labeled as the children of Jacob. We are his generation today. And we got to do this same thing today. We are the generation of Jacob that the nations want to destroy. And every time we walk into a Christian church, we let them destroy us. Every time we sit there and celebrate Thanksgiving, we're letting them destroy us. Every time we celebrate Christmas, we're letting them destroy us. We're the generation of Jacob that they're trying to destroy today, and our obedience to America is letting it happen. Wherefore they thought to destroy the generation of Jacob that was among them, and thereupon they began to slay and destroy the people. Then Judas fought against the children of Esau in Idumea, Rabbitime, because they besieged Gaal. And he gave them a great overthrow and abated their courage and took their spoils. You understand? Again, Judas was a mighty brother. He stood firm in the law. He stood firm in the truth. You understand? He was a mighty brother. Also, he remembered the injury of the children of Bean, who had been a snare and an offense to the people, in that they lay in wait for them in the ways. He shut them up, therefore, in the towers and encamped against them and destroyed them utterly and burned the towers of that place with fire and all that were therein. Salakia. Afterward, he passed over the children of Ammon, where he found a mighty power and much people, with Timothy as their captain. This is what I want people to understand. All these nations Judas went up against and destroyed. But this is what you need to understand. When you go and come to the Christian church, these are the same nations that they're telling you God now is having mercy on to give salvation to. If God gives them a salvation in the sense of what Israel is getting, do you not understand? Judas went to war for nothing. His fight, his valor, his love for his God, laws, and people was for nothing. That's what that would mean. Like, he should have said, whoa, people, if you just give it a couple more years, my God's going to accept you. He's going to love you. He's even going to bring the greatest of all of us down, not for us, but for you. Judas didn't do that. Judas understood these people are the enemies of God, just like David understood, just like Christ understood. And watch this, just like Paul understood. Oh yeah, this Bible flow, baby. Let's keep reading. Verse 7. So he fought many battles with them till at length they were discomfited before him, and he smote them. And when he had taken Jazar with the towns belonging thereto, he returned into Judea. Then the heathen that were at Galaad assembled themselves together against the Israelites that were in their quarters to destroy them, but they fled to the fortress of Dethema. So we had Israelites in that city at that time too. And what you're about to find out is this is how powerful Judas was as a not only a brother, but an Israelite that was obedient and had valor. Like, you want to talk about a man of war. You know, when the Most High said, "I am a man of war," I mean, I'm almost certain Judas had to be one of the top 3 or 4 brothers that was on his mind. He was like, I know he could. I mean, listen. Again, this is just me thinking carnally, and not in a bad way, but follow me. When the Lord said he was a man of war, I feel like there was a couple brothers that he had in mind. He said, "I can't wait till we get to this generation of Jacob, because I'm gonna bring out a brother named Judas. I'm gonna bring out a brother named David. I'm gonna bring out some brothers that literally gonna show you what I'm about." Like, that's the glory of it. Like, the Lord takes pride in brothers like this. But in order for the Christian doctrine to be true, guess what? He has to essentially forsake these brothers. These brothers, went to war in vain, because the exact same people these brothers fought against, he's coming to bring salvation to. He's coming to bring the kingdom to. If you listen to the Christian doctrine, makes you wonder. Let's keep going. We're going to read a little bit more. But to sum it up, this whole chapter is going into how much of a mighty warrior he was. And he was getting into it with all these nations. And even the people was coming to him like, "Judas, they coming from this side, that side, this side." And he put together something that's so heavy as far as warfare, that he ended up destroying all of them. You understand? We'll read a little bit more. So it says, Salakia. Right. Verse 10, "And sent letters unto Judas and his brethren. The heathen that are round about us are assembled together against us to destroy us." So now the Israelites that were in that quarters, they're sending letters to Judas and his brothers, which is essentially the head of our army at this time. "And they are preparing to come and take the fortress whereunto we are fled, Timothy is being captain of their host." Right? Yeah, hey, Gideon's another one. I forget about Gideon. Gideon, boy. And Gideon, a mighty man, boy, because he was either popping out babies or unaliving people. That's all Gideon was doing. Babies, unaliving babies, for he had many wives. But of course, if you listen to the Christian faith, Gideon was a sinful man. He had many wives, popped out all these kids. You understand? What? Oh, he was unaliving everybody that the Lord said he was going to bring salvation to. I mean, Gideon is very anti-Christian. You understand? Gideon is very anti-Christian. Judas is very anti-Christian. You understand? When you say 300, you mean 300 what? Salaki. I don't think he had 300 kids. I know he had about like 69 or 70, something like that. I don't know what you mean by 300. Salaki. All right. So, verse 13. "Yes, all our brethren that were in the place of Toby are put to death. Their wives, their children also have been carried away captives, and borne away their stuff. And they have destroyed there about 1,000 men. While these letters were yet reading, behold," listen to this, "there came other messengers from Galilee with their clothes rent, who reported on this wise, and said, They have Ptolemy of Tyrus and Zidon, and all Galilee of the Gentiles are assembled together against us to consume us." So now you got it like this. You had on one side brothers over here say, hey, Judas, they coming up against us, man. Yo, we need some help. And as they read these letters, he get another handful of letters and say, hey, they over here coming up against us too. Hey, we need help too. Think about that. You understand? And why do I say think about that? Because that's a burden to carry for your nation. But what you got to realize is that's the same burden we got today. All these nations are coming up against us. You understand? All these nations are coming up against us. No one wants us to be the children of Israel because it fulfills prophecy. No one wants us to be the children of Israel because it fulfills prophecy. It actually proves and shows, oh, shoot, we were in error. This whole time we've been in error. No one wants to be that. So therefore, we can't be the children of Israel. Anybody can be it but us. You understand? And that's why they don't want it. Let's keep reading. Oh, and not only that, again, this shows you how we were in all these other nations previous to when Paul was on the scene. Because remember, we're reading this to understand how and why Paul was saying no Jew nor Greek and all these other things, go to the Gentiles, this, that, and the third. Why? Because this was going on a good 200-300 years before Paul, right? So you got this going on 200-300 years before Paul. Well, imagine how we've been scattered into just a 200 or 300 year period. So when Paul comes on the scene, this is what you get. You understand? He's going to these people that are the end product of this. So let's keep reading. Now when Judas and the people heard these words, they assembled a great congregation together to consult what they should do for their brethren that were in trouble and assaulted of them. Then said Judas unto Simon his brother, choose thee out men, and go and deliver thy brethren that are in Galilee, for I and Jonathan, my brother, will go into the country of Gilead. So one's gonna take these brothers over here, and we're gonna go save them. You take you chosen men, and you go get these brothers over here, and you go save them. That's how heavy this was. We had to split up our small little army. You understand? So now it says 18. So he left Joseph, the son of Zacharias, and Azarias, captains of the people, with the remnant of the host in Judea to keep it, unto whom he gave commandment, saying, take ye the charge of this people, and see that ye make not war against the heathen until the time that we come again. You know why that's heavy? It's heavy that he took a portion of our army and military might and went over here. A portion went over here. You got the split, essentially. The small remnant that's still there, we still going to give rank and order to, but you're not going to go into a physical battle. And right now, that's where we're at here in America. We are the small remnant that's still here. We're not going to go into battle, but there's still rank and order. There's still a man over us. That would be Commanding General Yohana. Yes, sirree. And we still have that rank and order. Are we going into physical battle? No. Now, if they come up against us, guess what? You know we prepare for that thing. It can go however it need to go, but will we go looking for a physical battle? Of course not, because it's a spiritual war right now. You understand? I don't need a physical battle when I see most of my brothers and sisters are still in Christianity. I don't need a physical battle when I see most of my brothers and sisters are still about to go eat that Thanksgiving dinner to celebrate the unaliving of their ancestors. I don't need a physical battle when I see they about to go serve Christmas. You understand? We don't need it. It's already our people defeated. We got to get up out that spiritual war right now. That's what we're fighting. That's the battle we're fighting. You understand? So it says, now unto Simon were given 3,000 men to go into Galilee, and unto Judas 8,000 men for the country of Gilead. Then went Simon into Galilee, where he fought many battles with the heathen, so that the heathen were discomfited by him. And he pursued them unto the gate of Ptolemy, and there were slain of the heathen about 3,000 men, whose spoils he took. So that means all their goods, their gold, silver, all that, he took all that. You understand? Took all that from the heathen. And this is the thing. Remember, Simon, he was given 3,000 men. Guess what? He put down 3,000 men. That's how cold that brother was, right? And those that were in Galilee, in Arbutus, with their wives and their children and all that they had, took he away with him and brought them into Judea with great joy. So he brought them home. Guess what? That's literally what salvation would be like. There's going to be a war. Christ is going to fight this war. The brothers that the Lord choose is going to fight that war with Christ. And guess what? Then we going back home. 24. Judas Maccabees also and his brother Jonathan went over Jordan and traveled 3 days' journey in the wilderness, where they met with the Nabathites, who came unto them in a peaceable manner, and told them everything that had happened to their brethren in the land of Gilead, and how that many of them were shut up in Basor, Alima, Caspar, Makad, and Carnaim. All these cities are strong and great, right? So like, and that they were shut up in the rest of the cities of the country of Gilead, and against tomorrow they had appointed to bring their hosts against the forts and to take them and to destroy them all in one day. Hereupon Judas and his host turned suddenly by the way of the wilderness into Basora. And when he had won the city, he slew all the males with the edge of the sword, and took all their spoils and burned the city with fire. From whence he removed by night and went till he came to the fortress. And betimes in the morning they looked up, and behold, there was an innumerable people bearing ladders and other engines of war to take the fortress, for they assaulted them. And when Judas therefore saw that the battle was begun, and that the cry of the city went up to heaven with trumpets and great sound, he said unto his host, fight this day for your brethren. Woo. So they see this host of armies, this host of heathens. They got all the engines of warfare and everything you could ever want at this time. Imagine Elon Musk makes the greatest warfare artillery ever to come up against blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. That's what you got to see right now. And then our leader, Judas, he says, what does he say? He says, he said unto his host, fight this day for your brethren. See, there's a certain type of love you have to have for that to matter. Do you love your brother enough to fight, put your life on the line for your brother? This is why Christ said no greater love than a man put his life on the line for his brother, or die for his brother. Because that's what we got to have in order to raise our nation up. That's what we got to have today in order to come up against this great delusion called America, called Christianity. That's what we got to have today. Do you understand America's not real? Like that's a part of the delusion too. Like it's not real. It's just the people that made it up won the war. But America's not real. It's not real. It's literally people that were never even invited over here, made it up. And because they enslaved the people, won the war, it's literally the biggest nation on earth. But it's not real. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's a part of the great, strong delusion. It's not real. But we live according to it every day, don't we? It's not real, but you live according to its religion. It's not real, but you swear by its politics. We got to look at ourselves. Got to look at ourselves for this, because it's not real. It's part of that strong delusion. Well, when you have a love for your brothers, you don't care about that strong delusion no more. You can defeat the spirit of that strong delusion, because the only thing you care about is what is real. Y'all see how I did that play on words? I didn't even know I did that. Like, I almost feel like the Lord, he did that on purpose when he named us Israel. Because right now, everything we believe in is fake. It's fake. It's powerful. It's a powerful lie, but it's a lie. America's a powerful, powerful lie. There's nothing real about it. It's made up. It's make-believe. Somebody's playing make-believe, and they just had enough power to make it seem real, but it's not real. It's fake. We got to come back to the spirit of fighting for our brother. Fight this day for your brethren. So he went forth behind them in 3 companies, who sounded their trumpets and cried with prayer. And then the host of Timotheus, knowing that it was Maccabees, fled from him. Wherefore he smote them with a great slaughter, so that there were killed of them that day about 8,000 men. Why was 8,000 men unalived? Because all of us, our forefathers, were fighting for our brothers. It's that simple. That's what the truth is about. Brotherhood. The truth is about brotherhood. You can have all the precepts in the world. That's cute. And I ain't gonna lie, I like precepts. But if you ain't got brotherhood, if you ain't doing this for your brothers, for your sisters, you're not in the truth. You got to be fighting this warfare for your brothers. Because remember, we rise as a nation and we fall as a nation. It's never going to change. There's nothing we can feel, think, and or do that's going to change that. We are the children of God. We are the children of Israel. We are this generation of Jacob. And we have a duty to not only ourselves, but our nation to rise up, get back in line with the Lord, come back to obedience, and overall, build up this nation and have brotherhood, real brotherhood and sisterhood. And if you want to do that, you hit us up in the Isupk because we do that thing. You understand? We do that thing. Get with your brothers. Get with your sisters, man. Get in this rank in order, man. Everything should be done decently and in order. Everything. So with that, let me make sure we ain't got no more questions. Like I said, I wasn't going to read it all because essentially that's what it's going into. So next week, we're going to get into chapter 6. So it's about to get really good in the chapter 6. It's, man, Most High in Christ. So let me make sure we ain't got no more questions online. Hey, Shalom, Most High in Christ. Hey, Most High in Christ. So if anybody want to get with us, man, hit us in the back chat. We open 24/7. Again, we building a nation. We ain't never sleep. You understand? Until Christ return or our DIE, we gonna be doing this work, man. We got to build this nation. You understand? So with that, again, we're the Isupk out of 1 West 125th Street out of Harlem, New York, under commanding General Yohana. We teach Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans the truth according to the Bible. Much respect, appreciate it. If you truly respect the children of God, the children of Israel, you'll go to Isupk.com and pay your offerings right there. Just if you don't know what to give, just look at your bank account. If it says $1 million, just put $1 million in the offerings of the Isupk, Mikey. If you truly want to give respect, whatever your bank account says. So, well, with that, we say shalom, peace, love, Israel.